Hey there guys, it's DJ here from RFC. In today's video we're doing something a bit different. We're actually going to give you guys some tips and tricks that I've learned over the past years of breeding ball pythons. So this is not necessarily a how to breed ball pythons video, but more some tips and tricks of what I've learned that can maybe help you as well. So breeding ball pythons is actually quite simple compared to other reptile species. So if you have your climate, the temperature of the animals and everything correct, it's actually quite a simple process. So the first thing I'd like to emphasize is the body condition of the animal and actually the condition itself. So males and females need to have adequate body size in order to reproduce. Males need to be between 700 and 900 grams, which I believe is an optimal weight. And they need to be at least 2 years of age. Males can breed younger. I have had males breed for us at a younger stage, but honestly I prefer to have the males a bit larger. It also normally helps them not to go off feed. What I've seen is if we do breed younger males a bit sooner, they tend to go off food quite quicker. When we take a look at our females, normally ball python females I say is like a clock. So normally they will go in the same time frame as the year before. So let's say for instance you've got a proven breeder female that laid last year in August or September, more or less the next year she'll lay in the same time frame. So females need to be at least, in my opinion, 3 years of age. You can yet again breed females a bit younger if they've got the adequate weight. But normally in general I've seen that most females actually lay the first clutch in their third winter. So if you've got a proven breeder female and she's in the start of the season, she's not quite up to size, what I've normally seen in the past is if you put actually a male with the female, that normally stimulates yet again follicle growth and as well feeding. I can't stress enough how important temperature is when breeding your ball pythons, especially when we look at the females and their follicle development. Females need to be able to thermoregulate between the tub, so they need to go from the hot side to the cold side as they please. So it's really important to make sure that your temperatures are dialed in. You will see that we are constantly checking our temperatures with either the temp gun or just monitoring the thermostats to see where our temperatures are at. And throughout the year you will see that actually your females move between the front and the back of the tub. That's normally an indication of where they are with the follicle development. If a female spends a lot of time in the front of the tub, it's a good indication early on in the season, and towards when she gets gravid, they'll spend more time at the back side of the enclosure. Also, when looking at temperatures, it's really important for males. We don't want the temperature to spike too high, either in the ambient or even the hot spots, because what I've seen is if the temperatures is too high for the males, they're also not as efficient with breeding. So let's take a look at feeding. So in general, we feed our snakes actually smaller meals compared to other breeders. We don't like feeding much larger than small rodents, even for our adult females. So in breeding season, it's really important to upkeep and maintain the body condition of both your males and females. So we like to offer smaller meals, especially in the breeding season, but more frequently. So let's say, for instance, we feed our ball pythons and we see that the female is going on a really big food, frenzy. We like to feed them a bit more. So let's say, for instance, we've got a female and she's eating really well. We'll actually try and feed her a second or third meal in the season. Another thing is with males, it's really important to track your males. Make sure that they don't go off feed too quick. If it's a male and you see, listen, in the start of the season, he's actually going off food, it might be wise just to pull out the male for that time being out of the breeding season until he feeds a bit better. Another alternative when it comes to getting males back to feed is either to switch them over to cocoa husk if they were on paper, or then yet again to a smaller tub. So that's my tips in terms of feeding the ball pythons in your breeding season. Let's say you've got a case where a male doesn't want to breed. It can either be a proven breeder or a newly male which you've got in the rotation. I always say it's important to actually rotate the male to multiple females and see which female will help the male stimulate that breeding behavior. Another important thing is actually to pop your males before and after the breeding season. What I've seen is sometimes the males build up a lot of sperm throughout the year, and actually this can prevent the males from breeding because the sperm plugs get quite hard. So I always say it's important to pop your males before and after the breeding season in order to make sure that they are able to breed with the female. Another really important thing is, guys, to actually not disturb the animals in breeding season. So what I've seen in the past, we have in the past made some mistakes where we've actually disturbed our females too much during the breeding season, and they actually ended up giving us bad clutches or not viable eggs. So in my opinion is the only time that you're going to pick up your ball python female, especially the females in breeding season, is either when you're going to clean the enclosure, or you're going to have to ultrasound the animal, or you have to do something in terms of health checks or something with the animal. I always say don't disturb them in breeding season. We used to actually take pictures while the male and female was breeding, but we actually stopped doing that as well, just because in the past I've had some bad experience actually with males getting hurt. I don't know if it's necessary because of us taking the pictures or of them getting a fright when we open the tubs. So in the breeding season, I can't stress it enough, don't disturb the animals, try and let them just be. If you do pick up your female, make sure to be very gentle. I mean, they can potentially be gravid and building follicles, so just be very careful when picking up your animals in breeding season. Then the final tip is, guys, to make sure your incubator is dialed in and everything with your incubator is working as is. Your incubator can either make or break your season, and in the past, honestly, it has also affected us quite heavily. In the past, we've actually lost a lot of clutches due to not having the right incubator or our incubator not functioning like it should be. So make sure your incubator is completely dialed in even before you start actually breeding the ball pythons, or actually a couple of months before you get eggs. Like I said, this can either make or break your season, so make sure your incubator is dialed in. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, we really do appreciate all of you guys' support. If you've got any questions for us, please make sure to comment down below on this YouTube video, and perhaps if you've got any tips and tricks that you want to share with the ball python community, also comment down below on this YouTube video, and we'll see you guys in the next video.